heartbreak or losing somebody you love will always lead to pain. और इसका कोई मदावा भी नहीं है, with no medicine to cure it. So a sincere piece of advice is to stay in control. अपने emotions को अपने control में रखें. Important piece of advice, love. This is Professor Dr. Raheel Karim. I'm going to be talking about a series of talks on emotional growth and self-growth, and you will be hearing from me about a very common issue that I see in clinical practice, which is heartbreak. So it doesn't really mean that your heart is broken, but you must know that, other than having heart attacks, you can have a heartbreak secondary to breakup of a relationship. Now, in the next few videos, I will also tell you as to how best to manage it. So heartbreak or losing somebody you love will always lead to pain. ये ऐसा दर्द है जो कि आपने कभी शायद पहले एक्सपीरियंस किया हो, but it is a pain like no other pain. और इसका कोई मदावा भी नहीं है, with no medicine to cure it. So the pain, if you are feeling that right now, is gut-wrenching, but try not to see heartbreak as a curse, but as a blessing, really. Remember, most people break up when a person chooses another person or another partner. So during heartbreak, individuals drown themselves in self-pity. They are desperately searching for closure. वो बार बार replay करते हैं उन वक्तों को जो अच्छे वक्त गुजरे हैं. And they question every moment. And they are constantly asking themselves, what did I do wrong? How did this happen? And what did I do to deserve this? So this makes self-pity का element becomes a very strong element of the experience. ये ज़रूरी है कि एक strong या stoic person जो है वो sees the truth. The truth really is that the other person may have already made a conscious decision in a clear, capacitous mind, and that really decision wasn't about you. It may well have been about their own needs, wishes and aspirations as to where they want to be in life and what kind of a person they wish to associate with. So ये तो उनका perspective है, but the question for you as an individual who's trying to manage heartbreak is that will you let this destroy you, or will you let yourself into something greater and stronger? Reality तो ये है that the moment the other person walked away, you were given a choice. Either you can stay broken, needy, or basically elevate yourself, rise to the occasion and embrace the mindset of a person who cannot be shaken. So essentially, if you want to win in this situation and make something out of yourself, so there is no choice but to let go of people when they want to go. And make no mistake, you will win, because while the person who left you expects you to be lost without them, you're about to become the person whom the other person will regret leaving. So a sincere piece of advice is to stay in control. अपने emotions को अपने control में रखें. Emotions are like a wild horse, unless you don't put reins on them, you'll never be able to achieve control over the wild horse. बात तो ये मैं कुछ अजीब सी करने लगा हूँ, but try not to attach yourself too deeply. You might think that this is a very calculated and a premeditative move, and really love shouldn't be like that. But the reality is that anything that you wish to do on an emotional level has to be a strategy. So this will protect you later in the relationship and the eventuality of a breakup. It will ready you to master your emotions, reclaim your power, and make you see exactly what the other person threw away. Important piece of advice: love with your brain and not with your heart. You may think that this is an extremely cynical suggestion that Dr. Karim is making, but really love is an illusion. Whilst the illusion that one experiences feels very real, doesn't it? Anybody who's gone through it, people kind of think, the way she smiled at me, the way she held my hand, the whispers in my ears, the promises made in the dark, they all felt that these were feelings that will stay forever. But the reality and the harsh reality of it is that nothing is forever. So not even life itself is forever. So therefore, this is an important acknowledgement that you have to make to yourself. But the truth is, what you thought was love was an illusion. a mirage crafted by your emotions, by your own mind. And now that person is gone, you've left with the harsh realization that love in its rawest form is never as pure as it seems. So love is never pure as it seems, really. It's how you perceive things at the moment that makes it as important as it comes across to you at the time. So most people in love invest everything, like time, energy, emotions, money. They take time away from their work. They take time away from their families, believing that the other person will always feel the same way. But feelings are changeable. It's very important to recognize this. They shift like the tide. Their feelings are unpredictable and uncontrollable. The one thing that is constant in life is change. Another aspect that is not usually seen, that men and women have different capacities to love and they love differently. Their perception of love is very different. Men especially have more difficulty moving on after a breakup. They usually ask themselves, how could she have moved on so easily? So really the answer is very simple. She never saw love the way you did. So love is essentially a construct which has different connotations and meanings to different people based on their past relationship experiences. कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं who have had very traumatic experiences and they then perceive love and loyalty in a very different way. Usually men love with loyalty and expect loyalty as a basic ingredient in the relationship. They love with logic, with a sense of permanence. They see the woman as their partner, their future. वो in fact उस औरत को at that time they see them as everything. But the woman's love is based on how they feel in the moment. They are driven by emotions, by excitement and the constant need for stimulation and validation. And when the rush of newness fades, यानी कि जब वो नयापन चीज़ का ख़त्म हो जाता है, the emotional high of the relationship, when it settles into a routine, some women may start looking elsewhere, not because you did something wrong, but because you weren't enough. And it was not that you weren't enough, but because she was never yours to keep in the first instance. So past trauma, especially for women, shape their future and their responses in new relationship. Here I can tell you about a patient of mine who had a very traumatic first marriage, which then broke up, and then she had a couple of few relationships in the hope that they would be turned into a permanent relationship. She was so traumatized by her relationships that when she met a right good man, she didn't know what to do with him, really. She couldn't kind of absorb the abuse, and she often questioned कि मेरे बारे में भी किसी की इतनी अच्छी feelings हो सकती हैं. So trauma is very important in how the new relationship is perceived. Love is an illusion, as I said earlier. The idea that love is unbreakable and that devotion is forever, that the woman will stand by you through thick and thin no matter what. ये एक तो fairy tale है, ये fantasy है जो आदमी और औरतों को बताई जाती हैं, and it is sold to them from the time that they are young. जो एक strong या stoic person है, वो he sees reality. They understand that everything in life is fleeting, including love itself. They do not look for permanence in a world where everything is temporary, including life itself. Instead, what they tend to do is to embrace detachment. When a person chooses another person, most individuals in a state of rejection spiral into states of despair, trying to prove their worth. Basically what they're doing is they're trying to prove their weakness, because the moment you seek validation from the one who has left you, you tell them that they have the power over you. And as a stoic person, you should never give this power away to anybody. You need to step back, let them go, and understand the fundamental truth that she was never his possession to lose. So true strength is found when you stop seeing love as something to be owned, something to be kept at all cost. A person who is not broken by love is the person who commands respect. The person who does not chase is the person who is chased. So now it's the time for you to embrace, adopt a mindset to stop seeing breakup as your loss and start seeing it as a lesson in emotional growth. There is a very famous saying that every exit is an entry elsewhere. God knows where you'll be going and who you're likely to meet and how better you will be received in your next relationship. You must tell yourself that you weren't defeated. आप हारे नहीं हैं, but instead आपको ये सोचना चाहिए that you have learned something new and something very important. अपने आप को आपने आज़ाद कर दिया from the illusion of love. You may have fallen this time, but it is as important to get up. Sharon Stone, who's a very famous actor, when she lost everything after developing cancer and fighting for her life, she says it's not how you fall, but it's how you get up after the fall that is important. I say that even if you must fall forwards rather than backwards, as it is always easier to get up. And as my mother used to say, mitti pao and move on. You should do like this, get the muck off your shoulder and move on. I understand that this is easier said than done, but believe me, if you are able to do this, you are the most powerful person on earth.